Shalom, fam. This is Or Ibri, author of Making Your Enemy Your Footstool, investor and consultant. And I want to come to you today with a video. So I just saw a post online. Um, Someone had posted something, and it said, "How do you run from the things in your head?" And I responded to the post. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, it's a lot of people who they have a lot of things going on in their minds. A lot of traumas that they have endured, a lot of self critique. Um, there's a lot of things just from life, excuse me, that they have going on in their minds. And so um, one of the pieces of, I'm sorry, oh man, I'm blacking out here for a second. Oh man, sorry about that. One of the pieces of advice that I gave the individual is you do not run. You turn around, you look whatever the problem is in your head, you look it right in the face and you square up. And that's what we have to do. We have to start squaring up with our problems. Some of you are, avid readers of the Bible, avid readers of scripture, Torah, things like that. And one of the stories in there that is very intriguing is the story of Jacob wrestling with the Elohim. Now, I'm not here to debate what was it, an angel, was it the Most High himself? I'm not here to debate that. But Jacob was wrestling some type of entity. Now, some people take every single thing in the book to be literal. I do not. Some things in there are very literal. Some things are metaphoric to help you with situations. So I'm under the assumption that the story of Jacob wrestling with that entity was actually Jacob wrestling with himself, wrestling with the old version of him, wrestling with old thought processes, wrestling with old habits, and his new self, which wanted to be better. Those of y'all who know the story, basically he felt like he was about to face death, and he knew, I can't keep living my life like this. I got to do something different. The old him was trying to get him to stay in that way, and he was wrestling with the new him. He ended up overpowering the old him thought process to become the new version of himself. Hence why he got a name change. And as you all know, your name is a characteristic. Your name signifies attributes. So when he got a new name, which was Israel, it changed his character, it changed his attributes. So we all can learn a lot from that story. Like, as you can see in the story, Jacob was wrestling this entity that was stronger than him, more powerful than him. And when you look back in your life, the thoughts that you have in your head, your old ways, your old habits, they're a lot stronger than the new person you're trying to become. And you have to realize that. And you have to realize that in order to overcome these negative thoughts, some of us have been traumatized, some of us have been abused, some of us have been raped, some of us have been had all of these atrocities happen to us. Some of us have just had, just a short end of the stick. Some of us have built bad habits, have not done the right thing, so now we've had to reap the consequences of those actions. Some of us have all of these things, and some of us have built up habits that are just not good habits. And so we're trying to become someone new, and by becoming someone new, we have to fight very hard with that old person. And this is what we have to realize. In this fight, it's not like, we're not going to go in there like we Mike Tyson in his prime and knocking the problem out, within the first 18 seconds of the fight, and knocking it out, and the thing that we going up against never hits us. Like, that's not gonna happen, and we gotta stop having that unrealistic expectation. The expectation that you should have is that I'm going to defeat this, not I'm just going to go in here and just knock it out and not have to really compete and not have any problem. That's not what's going to happen, because Here's the thing, using the analogy of Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson trained very, 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 very hard. He trained very hard to be able to go in there and knock people out in the first round without, really taking a punch. He trained very hard to be able to go and snatch people's soul before they even threw punches at each other. He worked very hard on the psychological part of boxing in order to be able to look a man in his eyes until he knew that man was afraid to fight him. Those are all strengths, and those are all abilities that he trained hard to have and to do. You're trying to go up against literally your old self, which is your old training. So you're not going to be, you're going to be able to be tough and stick it out, but you may not be able to go in there and just knock that thing out first round. Like, that thing may give you a nice good hook to the chin, and you're going to get, dazed, and you're going to be blurry-eyed, and you're not going to know what's going on sometimes. But you got to keep fighting. And I think what most of our issues is not the actual fight, but is our expectation of the fight. We walk around and we think everything's supposed to be easy. We think everything is supposed to just lay down for us, and we don't got to compete at all. And when we got to compete, that is what defeats us. Like, we have to stop falling to competition. Like, that's what makes you stronger. The process is what makes you greater. So by you actually having to fight and overcome whatever it is that you have to fight and overcome, that's what is going to give you the ability to be able to defeat that thing and then defeat things later on. You have to. But you got to anticipate, man, this thing going to give me, I'm going to take some good punches from it. And this thing might, knock me, you might even get knocked down to the ground. This thing might hit you and you might get knocked down, and you may have to lay on the canvas for a couple of moments and then get back up. But you got to anticipate that's what's going to happen and prepare yourself to get back up, not be like, oh my gosh, I got knocked down. I can't believe this happened to me. Why did this happen to me? And because you're in such bewilderment, you lay down and you stay down there. By that time, it's too late. And you already got counted out in life. And this thing has defeated you. But you have to fight back. And fight back. And when you get hit, get up. Now, one of the things that you can do is you have to, if you're in a fight, you have to make sure that you have the proper fighting tools. So the great thing about fighting your old self is, yeah, you're in a fight, but it's not, that type of fight, like an actual boxing match or MMA match, something like that. Here's the thing. In the middle of the fight, you can still go and learn. As a matter of fact, it is like that, because you're going to have rest periods. And in your rest periods, you have your trainers and whatnot. So like in a boxing match, you go to the corner, the trainer tells you, hey, look, you need to do this, do that. Hey, he dropping his hand low, you need to bomb, hit him right here, get him a couple body shots, his body weak, stuff like that. Fake with a hair, throw a two-piece counter combo, stuff like that. That's the same thing that happens in life. Like, you have to get the tools in order to defeat this thing, or you have to get the skill set or the information to defeat this thing. So what you're going through, here's the great thing. Whatever it is that you're going through, you're not the only person to have gone through it. There are people out there that have gone through what you're going through, and there are people out there who have the tools and the set of skills that you need in order to get through what it is that you're going through. So maybe you go see a therapist, seek professional help. A lot of times, sometimes we think it's something deeper than what it is, but it could be changing your diet, getting the proper vitamins, nutrients, and stuff like that, that'll help strengthen you mentally. Little things, talked about one of my earlier videos, like doing little things like, okay, let me go take a cold shower. Like, we go in the bathroom and we want to turn the water on the hottest that it can get, and we're comfortable and we feel great. But then, we're like, oh my goodness, why can't I overcome XYZ? You're not really giving yourself no challenges. Like, one of the easiest things you can do to help train yourself to fight off resistance is to take a cold shower. It forces your body and your mind to adapt and to be, it forces your body and your mind to adapt to adverse circumstances and adjust to that. So then what happens is when you come against things that are actual adverse situations, your mind and your body knows how to adjust to it, because the simple thing is that cold shower force you to adapt and adjust to something that was uncomfortable. So these are just a few things that you can do in order to defeat those things. But what you can't do is give up. Yes, it's hard. You're going to feel like you want to give up. It's okay to have that feeling. Don't give up. That's the thing. Like some of us get defeated just by the fact that we feel like we're defeated by feeling defeated. No, like it's just like in anything. You get tired, you get worn out, but you got to keep going. And you keep going, and sometimes you're going to cry. And sometimes you're going to feel like you can't do it. And sometimes you're going to feel like things are difficult. Sometimes you're going to be like, I don't even see the way out. Just keep going. Keep going. Do something different. Do something different. Get help. Seek help. Implement a new plan. Do the things, like learn, read. You know what I'm saying? If you're going through the depression, what's not going to get you out of your depression is listening to sad music all day. It's not going to work for you, because first off, majority of these sad songs aren't giving you the tools that you need to get through whatever your circumstance it is. It's actually just putting you deeper into the circumstance that you're in mentally. So instead of sitting around listening to sad, sappy, depressing music, read a book on how to overcome what it is that you listen to, or listen to music that helps you overcome whatever it is that you're going through or whatever it is that you're struggling with. Do these things, because this is what's going to help you overcome and defeat those things that are in your mind. If you do not overcome and defeat those things that are in your mind, then it's going to be very difficult for you to defeat these things. Just plain simple. You don't need, try to make it all philosophical. You have to make sure that you are putting in your mind what it is that you want and need to give you the tool set to defeat all forms of adversity that you're going to come up against. All forms of it. And here's the thing. You seek help, you get help, but you still have to have your own customized, tailored plan, because you just going and talking to some old Joe Schmo on the street, or some, you may have friends who, hey, yeah, they've been through some things, but their things are different than what you're going through. They're not you. You all haven't had the same experiences. So what works for them may not work for you. And what works for you may not work for them. I mean, you can take the advice and custom tailor it for yourself. But you have to do what you need to do in order to defeat whatever it is that is coming up against you. You have to. It's important. It's pertinent. And here's the crazy thing. Those forms of adversity are what make you stronger. Going back to scripture, when the children of Israel got into the land, the Most High told them it was a few nations, because at first they were supposed to have the whole land to themselves. But he said, I'm going to leave a few nations in here. And I'm going to leave these nations in here to prove you and to tempt you and to test you. And that's the thing. We go through these things that we're going through because it is to test us. And people don't like to be tested, but you have to be tested to know exactly where you're at. You have to be, because you may not be where you think you're at, and that is problematic. That is problematic. So you have to get to where you're supposed to be at, so that way you can be prepared for all forms of adversity that are formed against you. So with that, I'm Or Ibri. Go heal, go build, and I say peace and shalom.